I always thought about harming myself.
I'm shy. I struggled with making friends.
I never thought I could do anything. I have extremely low self esteem.
Lately, I've been eating my pain away. Just throw it back up. I've been struggling to lose weight. Somebody said I don't fit in just because I wear my hair the way I like it.
1 out of 5 American girls suffer from mental health problems. Don't be that girl. Talk to someone.
Those thoughts I had are long gone, for I have a future I need to get to.
In order to get better, I had to do better. I learned how to make friends.
I believe in myself. That's when everyone else did, I set an example.
Instead of me eating everything, I started watching my calories. The weight is falling off.
I wanted to change my hair, but I decided it was for me. It's for me.
A PSA from the Curvy Girl Project.
And good morning, and welcome to Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we have a very, very information-packed half an hour with my special guest, Ms. Dominique Sparks. But before we get started, our show is live, and if you'd like to call in, our phone number is 313-365-7327 or 313-365-7379. And we are live in the phenomenal cities that you can view us from. Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan, as well as the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Glenda McDonald. But before we get started, just want to say that, everyone, this is a real interesting time, of the year. Everybody's gearing up for the elections that are coming up, and there's a special election this month for districts 13 and districts 25 for state representative, as well as the general election that's coming up for the president, senate candidates, and state representatives and others in November, as well as the primary election that's coming up in August. So again, you're going to probably get a lot of people that are going to be asking you for their support. So the main thing I encourage everyone to do is review the information that you get, make empirical decisions about who you want to support, but the main thing to do is to get out and vote. So again, I can't say enough. Get out and vote. Don't sit at home. Don't assume that your vote doesn't matter. Don't assume that somebody's going to go and vote your conscience or vote what you want to feel. You have to get out and vote yourself and encourage other people to do the same thing. This is a kind of a good segue into our topic today. And the topic that we're going to talk about today is a topic that a lot of people may have questions about, and in some cases don't know how to frame the questions, especially to people that may have children or an adult in their household that is going through autism. And autism has a totally different evolution when you talk about the cognitive as well as the learning abilities of individuals. The reason why we're bringing this up today, and that's why my topic that Ms. Sharon Dumas had asked me to speak about today with my special guest, is because this is National Autism Awareness Month. And this is to make certain that everybody understands. Some of you see the little puzzle piece that people wear on their lapels, or they may see the T-shirts that have the puzzle piece, on the T-shirts. But that's what that denotes, and it denotes autism awareness. And the other thing is that there's a color that you see a lot of moms and dads and brothers and sisters, wear, that also lets persons know that they are trying to educate people about autism. And that's the color purple. I know a lot of people, when they see the color, they think about the movie. But the thing is that that color denotes a person that's really trying to get people aware of the fact that autism is a color that, in some cases, it's a mixture of different colors.
Actually, it's changed to blue.
So now it's blue?
It's blue.
Okay. Because I know at one point I think they were saying it was purple, but now my special guest is saying it's blue.
Yes.
So I guess let me segue into my special guest. Her name is Miss Dominique Sparks, and she also goes by another name. Her professional name, because she's a comedian, is
Comedian Juicy.
Juicy.
Yes.
Okay. But without further ado, Juicy, welcome to
Thank
Expose
you.
Under the Sun.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Darwin.
Thank you. Just want to kind of get into a little bit of the information, about autism,
Okay.
and talk about what is autism, and talk about in terms of, say, why you are talking about autism to our audience today.
Okay, I am talking about autism to your audience today because I am an autism mom. I have a daughter who is 16. She is perfectly fine. We had no signs of autism. And then 12 years later, I had my son, Julian, and he is autistic. Now, not only is he autistic, he is a duo. So he is autistic and he's ADHD, which is cognitive and neurodivergent at the same time. So
You say he's autistic and
ADHD.
What is ADHD?
ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and it's basically hyperactivity.
Okay.
So the brain is sending transmitters to the kids to tell them to do a million different things at once, and they want to move, they want to jump, they want to sit still, but they can't. They must move, they must jump, they must interact. And so usually they put them on medicine to what they say calm them down, which is usually the Ritalin, and it's some other different alternatives. But with my son, they don't start medicine until 6. And my son is 5, and I'm still not going to go into the medicine route. But we'll get there further into the interview. But how I got to this journey was when I got pregnant with my son, I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 12 weeks. Autism, as far as we knew in our family history, did not run. There were no problems with the pregnancy. Everything went normal. And then when we got to the hospital, that's when things started going wrong, which I can't say much about because I'm in a lawsuit. But my son he didn't have amniotic fluid for almost an hour with his birth. So when he was born, he swallowed meconium, which sent him into HIE, which is a neurological shock. So he was born with HIE, and it comes from studies that show that HIE, one of the main things that come from HIE is autism.
Now, was your son, was he cesarean birth, or was he?
He was cesarean birth. We had emergency cesarean.
Okay.
He was in the NICU for 45 days.
You say 45 days?
45 days
Okay.
he was in the NICU. He did not cry until he was 18 days old. He did not open his eyes until he was 22 days old.
Now, do you think that some of that could have been based on him swallowing the meconium?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, some of that is from swallowing the meconium. But him swallowing the meconium came from a mistake that the doctors made in birth. But that's neither here or there. Baby's born. Baby finally goes home. We go home with a feeding tube.
Now, what were they trying to? They kept him in NICU for, you said 45 days?
45 days.
Why was he kept there for such a long period of time?
Because when he was born, he didn't, I don't want to say he didn't wake up. He didn't cry. He didn't, so they had to pump his lungs. They even prepped me to the point where they told me to make arrangements. He wasn't going to make it through the night. And that's scary right
The
there.
doctors were prepping you for the
Prepping me
fact
for
that
him
he
not
might
to
not
make
make
it
it through
the night.
the night.
Yes, because his immune system, everything was so low. He had coded.
You say he coded
He
as well?
coded, yes,
Okay.
and they brought him back. I don't know if I'm able to say it on the radio, but what saved my baby was my mom's prayers. My mom took oil and rubbed it across that incubator and laid across it and told God not to take her grandson and that she would serve him if he didn't. And he didn't take my son.
How were you feeling at that time?
Broken. I was broken in my belief, but I wanted to believe so bad. That's what kept me with God right there. Because if he would have took my son, I don't know how I would have felt in that moment. But I grew up in church. My mom is an evangelist. My dad's a deacon. And so I needed God to show up in that moment to keep me with him. And he did. And he ain't failed me yet. He been with me every step of this journey. And it's not an easy journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the black community, a lot of times we don't want to admit when something is wrong with our children. We will dance around it. We will get angry at others who physically see it and say something about it before us. But that's where we come into acceptance. We have to accept that they will always be perfect in our eyes, but sometimes physically or mentally or emotionally, they aren't perfect. And that's where we have to accept so that we can get them the help early. Because the first key to healing is getting the diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
You can have cancer for a long time, but until you get it diagnosed, you will be feeling perfectly fine and not knowing that anything going on. How many times you go to the doctor, you feel perfectly fine, and then they tell you, hey, something not right on the inside. So
And that's something that's hard because sometimes parents have a hard time trying to accept
they do.
the doctor's diagnosis of their son or daughter.
Yeah.
And they may say that the daughter or the son may be going through this, but then, like you said, the father or the mother may be, no, he's fine.
Yeah, and there's certain things that
And there's certain
it's
things
scary.
running in the family.
It's fear. Fear blocks us from a lot of things that it shouldn't. So the fear of actually knowing that your child is different, or the fear of the things that they're going to face in life once they do get that diagnosis, stop people. If you realize that your baby isn't saying words mama, dada, baba by at least 18 months, then maybe you should look into, even if not autism, speech delay or something else. But something is going on there. Children should be speaking. Children should be interacting. With my son, we had words. We had mama, dada, baba. We were talking. We were doing good. But then at 18 months, we lost it. Out of nowhere, it's just gone. And then he went into frustration, where I used to call it cawing, where he would go, oh.
What you call it? Cawing?
Like a bird.
Like a bird, okay.
Yeah, because he would flap his arms and do the oh. And at that time, we called him Birdie because that's what it was, like a bird. But what we didn't know is it's actually called a stem. And stemming is a way for autistic children to calm themselves down and bring them back into equilibrium.
You say it's called stemming.
It's called stemming.
Okay.
And people think, they actually think that stemming is a bad thing. Oh, don't clap your hands. If you know somebody that do their hands like this, or we stem ourselves. If you ever get nervous or tired and you pat your foot to the ground, that's stemming. That's keeping you calm. Whatever you do to keep you calm neurologically, that is stemming. And that is a good thing, because you would rather people stem than have a sensory overload. Because my son is sensory. And what I want people to know is every case of autism in every family is different. No child, your child may be level 2 autism, my child may be level 2 autism, but those may look like two totally different situations. My son, they told me he wouldn't be potty trained until he was 7. You have to be a proactive mom or parent in this autism game. I have to talk to y'all like I talk to my family. You have to be proactive in this autism game because early detection and early intervention is key. They usually don't want to test the children until their ages 3 for autism. My son, I pushed that he got tested by 24 months because I saw it at 18 months. So it was already 6 months in before we even started going into getting the issue taken care of. You see what I'm saying? So early detection is key. Acceptance is key. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. What I would tell moms is go to a child psychologist or speak to your child's doctor about who you can take your child to see to get them diagnosed. Once you get them diagnosed, find out what works for you. We do ABA therapy, which he is approved for 24 hours a week for ABA therapy. Now, where that comes in a problem is he is also in kindergarten. Kindergarten, as we know, is from 8 to 4, 5 days a week. So now we on 40 hours a week already. That can be a lot. 30 hours of ABA plus 40 hours of school. 70 hours is a long work week for adults, let alone a child with autism and ADHD. So what we do is he goes to ABA therapy, which, who don't know, is Applied Behavioral Analysis School. They teach him speech therapy. They teach him occupational therapy. They teach him behaviors because certain behaviors come along with being sensory. So I can talk about the bad part. My son is 5, but he has a sensory where he likes to dry hump, if that makes sense to people. And he's a picker, so he likes to mouth. If you're not careful, he'll lick you real quick. Or in certain places, I don't take him like to Dino Land and different play places because kids is nasty. I don't know if y'all.
So he's ready to lick the.
He'll be going down the slab and you don't know real quick, and they do it quick. Like they're very smart. Never think because a child is nonverbal that they are non-hearing or non-knowing, and that's where a lot of people mistake. Oh, he can't talk. Yes, he can. Juju has taught me that love needs no words.
You say love needs no words.
Love needs no words because love is an action word. Love is not what you say, it's what you do. And that's what I try to teach people. Kindness. I want people to know that we would rather you ask a question than stare at us. Because when we in the mall, it may be too many people, too many sounds, too many lights. And when he starts off, he be good. But once the sounds, the lights, and the people hit all at once, he may have a total sensory overload in the mall where now it's too much. And it can happen like that. Now we screaming, now we crying, now we falling out, and people looking. And sometimes for the parents, it sends you into a sensory overload because nobody want to be looked at or stared at or told it. Oh, he just acting out.
So how do you react when you have a parent or someone or another child that looks at your son, like you said, at the mall, and maybe just staring at him? What do you say anything to that child or to that parent, or what do you say?
If it's a grown up, I will let them know, like, come over. You know what I mean? Like, he having a sensory overload. It's okay. Because, if they do it too quick, people will think you're doing something to hurt the baby. Mm-hmm. Like, no, he's okay. And you explain it to him. With a kid, kids are not the unkind ones. It's usually the adults. Kids are more, they want to play anyway. They want to ask questions. What's wrong with him? Mm-hmm. What's going on? Kids will ask, but then you get the mean kids. Like one time we was on the beach, and the boy wanted to play with him, and Juju wouldn't speak back or play back with him, mm-hmm. So he was about to hit him. Now I got to step in because even though he's nonverbal, Mom is very verbal. Don't you hit my baby because he doesn't know. You know what I mean? But I want people to know, first off, accept that it's maybe something wrong with your kid. Second off, get the diagnosis. It's okay, because early intervention is the best thing you could do for your child and yourself. Number 3, get you a support system. This is not an easy run. You're going to need somebody to help you. I thank God, even though his father is not always active, I have a great support system. My mom is 4 blocks away. My cousin moved in with me to be his nanny, because I am a single working mom with an autism child. So when I come home from work, I still have to give him baths. I still have to make sure his night light is on. I still have to, and routine is key. With autism, ADHD kids, they're not good with change or sudden change. So if you get a routine, stick to it, and that will help you. No matter what, Juju's waking up at 7:30. He's eating breakfast at 8. We gonna brush our teeth and wash our face and then put on our clothes. And we have pictures for each activity. That's how we communicate, through the picture system. So if he wants milk, he'll bring me the picture of the milk.
Okay.
If he wants to go to the playground, he'll bring me the picture of the playground. And I'm the type of mom, I didn't like going to the playground, so I bought one and put it in my backyard. So we have a because you have to keep them stimulated. Everything is sensory. When I put him in the car, I make sure I put on his glasses, because he does have astigmatism, because he likes to look around and see the colors and the lights. Like, everything is stimulate. When we get in the car, if it's too hot, he'll take off all his clothes. These are things you have to know about my baby. So I don't let him go with a lot of people, and I have to see how you interact with him first, because you have to lead with love before you lead with discipline.
So you say to lead with love.
You have to
before
lead
you
with
lead
love
with discipline.
before you lead with discipline, and that's what a lot of people need to know. They're not acting out or being bad. You have to know the difference between a sensory overload and a tantrum, because they are still children. They still will try you, and they still themselves. They have awesome personalities and likes and dislikes. My son will take chocolate milk over anything. So you have to know these things about them, and every case is different. So just learn what works for you. Screen time, a lot of parents are against screen time with the children, but as we know, the children are big on screen time now. I'm not a screen time parent. Whatever gonna keep you calm, cool, and collective, I'm with it, because he can be a firecracker. Aggression is a big part of autism, especially level 2. Self-harm and physical aggression. And sometimes it's not that they're actually mad, they can't communicate, and that makes you mad.
So they can't communicate their emotions
Yes.
that they have.
Yes, when Juju is mad, he bites the center of his hand and stump his feet. That when I know he mean business.
When you say bites the center of his hand,
like he'll bite down. Like,
I mean to draw blood, or
not
just,
to draw blood,
but just bites
just to let you know
that he's upset.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm biting his hand so I don't bite you.
Oh,
So
okay.
get it together.
Okay. So it's like letting you know I'm upset,
Yup.
but he takes the physical on
Yeah,
him
he trying
as
to-
opposed to on
Yeah,
somebody
he like,
else.
I'm trying to tell you I'm angry before I for real get angry.
So it's almost like the same thing, like how a person may go and count to 10
Yeah,
if
he
they're
does
upset.
that. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I taught him that because I saw it on an episode of Family Matters.
Okay.
Where Steve taught Carl to count to 10 to calm him down.
Okay.
And so that's what I taught him. And he does it. But he's nonverbal.
Okay.
Nonverbal does not mean not knowing.
Nonverbal does not mean not knowing.
Nonverbal does not mean not knowing. It does not mean non-listening.
Okay.
That's why I tell people, be careful what you say around my son, because even though he don't talk, he hears things retarded, slow. They hear these
So
things.
he hears these words that could be offensive.
that could be offensive
Right
to
there
him,
like
but he
that.
can't tell you he's offended.
Right. You know, Dominique, we're going to have a part 2 to this.
We
Because this
will.
half hour went by so fast.
It did.
And I
I
definitely
would
have to
love
have
to
you
share
come back
more.
on. I would love to have you come back on.
Thank you.
You've been watching Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. My special guest has been Dominique Sparks, otherwise known as
Comedian
Juicy. And she's a comedian, and she performs a lot here in the Detroit area.
Yes, and you
So
can follow
be able
me
to
on
look.
Instagram, Juicy, Jucee 313. You can also follow me on Facebook, Comedian Juicy, Jucee. And Dominique Sparks always. And I'm open to talk or answer any questions any parent or follower may have. I'm open.
Great. Okay. If you'd like to get a copy of the Detroit Native Sun newspaper, you can contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart, area code 313-457-5944. And if you'd like to advertise, you can contact her to advertise in the Detroit Native Sun News. Thank you, Juicy, for coming on the show.
Darwin,
Love to
thank
have
you
you
for
as a part
having me. If you're free, I'm at Punchline tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Come see me
Get
for
that,
comedy.
get that shameless plug.
Okay.
Have a great day to our listening and our viewing audience. Peace.
Here at the Full and Fabulous Curvy Girl Project, we don't just focus on health, beauty, and self-esteem. We also offer an amazing summer program for young ladies ages 12 to 18. For more information, visit our website at fullandfabulous.org. See you soon.